This report was presented by me at a conference held in France February 27, 2020 at the University of Lille. It is a brief overview of the history of building 3D printers, an overview of the technical solutions used in the present, and a brief presentation of the 3D plotter project. A more detailed review will be presented to your attention in the near future. Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. I am very pleased to welcome all of you here today to this conference. And I am deeply grateful to you for not only devoting your time, but also your attention to the direction of 3D construction printing. I also want to express my great appreciation to the organizer of this event for the invitation and the opportunity to speak to you. Thanks for the chance. I will use it. My name is Oleg. I am a private entrepreneur, founder and project manager for the serial production of mobile building 3D printers under the 3D Plotter brand name. I'll introduce you to the new generation of Transformers 3D construction printers in the second part of my report. Now, a little history. 13 years ago, in 2007, I carefully looked at the device, which today is called 3D Plotter. Clearly and distinctly I saw a 3D building printer in front of me. But that was not his time. No one likes unripe apples. 10 years later, in 2017, I decided that this time had come. This was clearly evidenced by the dynamics of the 3D printing industry, which was manifested in the successful experiments of Alexander Rudenko, Professor Koshevitz, as well as in many other projects, startups that today are confident entrenched in the lists of leaders of the direction. Then, 3 years ago, I decided that this area needed close monitoring. When the size of the favorites folder in my browser sent a signal that it is not infinite, I realized that this option for processing information is unacceptable. In addition, the reaction to events and their assessment is only my subjective opinion and my reaction. I wanted to know what other people think about it and what their opinion about it. 3D construction printing is the name of a group on the Facebook social network that I created in March 2017. Daily monitoring of the internet space made it possible to create a digest of constantly updated news of the direction in the group's publications feed, the number of which is approaching 2,500 people from 99 countries of the world. Analysis of over 3,000 different publications representing a large information array allows you to track not only speed but also direction development of the 3D building printing industry as a whole. My today's report will be related to equipment for construction 3D printing, that is, about building printers of the history of their appearance, options, performance, strengths and weaknesses, problems and solutions, comparison. If I was asked to answer the question in whose hands the palm regarding the invention of equipment for 3D construction printing, I would probably call William Earl. On October 20, 1941, he applied to the U.S. Patent Office for registering a patent for a wall building machine. The person most of whose time was devoted to the invention of equipment for the food industry is the author of the first building 3D printer. He created a prototype that successfully implemented the construction of a roundhouse. As you probably already noticed, it took us 79 years to talk about it today. I may not be aware of existing earlier applications or ideas that, from the perspective of today's present, could be judged as a 3D building printer, but this invention, in my opinion, had the opportunity to demonstrate its functionality in a really printed building earlier than anyone. For a more accurate and correct understanding of the situation regarding the wishes and expectations of possible users of equipment for construction 3D printing, I conducted a survey of group members. I want to share the results with you. The results of the survey of English-speaking respondents have a slight discrepancy with the respondents of the Russian-speaking audience, but this difference is not significant and generally complement each other. Alexei Ishtanin, founder of the OSA One startup in 2019, using a design solution reminiscent of the principle used by William Merhill, created a prototype of a 3D building printer. In this video, you can see the principle of operation of this device as well as the dome structure that was erected with its help. The central position regarding the building being erected as a location for the printer is clearly visible in the technical solutions of such projects as Apis Core and your compatriots Construction 3D, the successes of which I do not tire of rejoicing. I will not concentrate your attention on these projects for a long time, especially since the founder and leader of the Construction 3D project is among us in this room, and I have no doubt that he will answer your questions with pleasure. My internet surfing of the information spaces of the network allowed me to discover an interesting constructive solution to the idea of a 3D building printer proposed by a project from the United States and announced in 2014. For 6 years, the project has undergone rebranding and demonstrates its willingness to cooperate in the construction of domed houses using the mixture shotcrete technology in 3D building printing and a printer, the design of which I consider to be very original. I don't intend to abuse your time and even go into a brief analysis of studies of the Google Patents information base which, upon request, 3D construction printer issues up to 37,000 documents. I will try to briefly dwell on certain patents that characterize the focus in the production of 3D building printers that are currently on the market manufacturers and are available for operation. I think that I'm hardly mistaken that among our contemporaries it is worth mentioning the name Enrico Dini, who for many years has been successfully working towards the development of construction printing. As an example, you can examine his patent application, which is based on the portal design of the printer. This study will help you understand how the 3D plotter differs from other printers. A patent pending in Japan deserves attention for its size, but is unlikely to withstand criticism that the installation and dismantling times will exceed the printing time unless you consider it as a large-scale 3D printing factory. Costly project. The engineering core of the USA Armed Forces, as well as a very similar project from Korea, have been demonstrating their successes for at least the past 2 to 3 years. Rails as a necessity in order to give mobility to the device, in my opinion, are not a strong link in this technological chain, since they require preliminary leveling of the surface, installation of the printer guides and their subsequent movement. This can also be attributed to the equipment of the Icon project. I would also like to single out a project from the USA. The guys took their approach to solving 3D construction and it looks like they are getting it. Mobility in this case is not a necessity. Do you want to solve a problem? Do not go in the direction of her appearance. Apparently the guys don't even look there. According to the conclusions reached by Witteveen and Boss in August last year, 2 types of devices are mainly used in 3D building printing. One of them is a robotic device on the platform of industrial robots KUKA, ABB and others. Their share is 53% and, accordingly, 47% are portal printers designs. The disadvantage that all types of devices have when operating in the open air, directly at the construction site, is the need to equip a tent, or a protective dome, to avoid undesirable atmospheric effects affecting the printing process. The stationary placement of a building 3D printer of a portal design makes it less effective due to the filling of the printer's print field with finished products and the time that must be maintained before the product can be moved, which can lead to equipment downtime. In the same way, the efficiency of robotic printers increases with their mobility and decreases with stationary positioning. There is a pattern in the portal design of the printer. The size of the printing field is always smaller than the size of the printer itself, while the size of the tent is always larger than the size of the printer. One printer, one nozzle. This question was asked by inventors from China, and they increased the productivity of their device, but the increase in the use of consumables did not make the print field large. I would not like to be perceived by you in this case as a critic. I always respect the result of the work of any person or group of people with great respect, and I am aware that my thoughts are just my subjective opinion, which has the right to be expressed, as well as the opinion of each of you. If we pay attention to information from a survey of group members, we can probably identify the main issues that hinder the development of the construction 3D printing industry, as well as find out the distribution of preferences and expectations from the industry as a whole. Any development, whatever it concerns, is growth, expansion, increase. The growth of ongoing projects as well as their geography covers all continents: the UAE, Morocco, France, Spain, the USA, Russia, Mexico, China, Korea, Ukraine. The number of startups is increasing: Poland, the Czech Republic, Finland, Brazil, Russia, Switzerland, Austria. The project from Ukraine was able to detect not only the product produced using a building printer, but also create demand for it, which allowed loading the equipment into around-the-clock operation. The number of scientific publications and research results from various laboratories and universities from around the world, which are aimed at creating new building materials for their use in building 3D printing, is proportionally increasing. And now I want to bring to your attention the product of our project. A mobile construction printer 3D plotter. The structural basis of the technical implementation of the printer is a solution defined in a narrow circle of designers as a Cartesian coordinate robot. What does it have in common with printers you know? Perhaps the fact that he prints in the same way as everyone else. How is he different? Mobility is implemented without a mechanical drive. Just one person's efforts are enough to move. The location of the printer relative to the print object does not matter, inside or outside the building. Localization of the print field from environmental influences with the ability to create and maintain a microclimate and the necessary temperature and humidity modes. Two printers can be transformed into a construction portal 3D printer for printing complex geometric shapes. One printer, one nozzle. The transformation of two 3D plotter devices into a 3D plotter trio modification allows printing with 3 extruders and 3 X-axes, at the same time. I hereby confirm our readiness to supply 6 units of 3D building printers 3D plotter within 2 months to organize a construction printing factory for any company interested in this. Among our plans is the completion of 3D plotter radius, as well as testing equipment to solve the following technological problems in the construction of 3D printing: reinforcement, plastering, grinding, polishing, milling, applying liquid compositions, decoration. We are also considering the possibility of using a cartridge printing system and the use of equipment that could compete with existing solutions for supplying the mixture. One of the most important issues facing the creator of any product is the availability of a request for it. For pioneers of building 3D printing, the complexity of this task increases many times over. There are more than enough reasons for this. The construction industry is very conservative in the adoption of innovations. But on the other hand, the attention and funds allocated by global corporations for the development and research of mixtures for building printing inspire optimism and hope for change. To my regret, in this short report I am not able to cover all areas of development of the 3D construction industry. In order to correct this situation, we are working on a global video review, which will include about 10 episodes and help you learn almost everything about 3D building printing. Follow the news and join a group of like-minded people. In conclusion, I would like to emphasize that I, like all the speakers of this conference, are optimistic about the future of the construction 3D printing industry. We do not hope for success. We do not doubt him.